My name's Meredith Luce, and I'm a naturalist in progress. I love nature. I love getting outside, and so I'm going to be all over the place today. I'm going to start out on the Quiddity Trail. There's a really neat spot here if you're into birds. If you come from the main Tallow Rock Bay Trail parking, you go over the boardwalks and then out to this little point. You don't even have to get all the way up to the lookout, but just when you come down along here, it can flood in the spring, but there's a really incredible link between Killenbeck Lake and Charleston Lake that's very actively inhabited by beavers, and there's usually some really neat ducks in there, and you can access the little bay, this bay right down here. And I was here a few days ago and there was already some open water and some birds, some waterfowl enjoying that, so I'm going to try and get a look at that. And so far it's just me here this morning, and this is really nice. The park has started to keep this parking area accessible, and the outhouse is open through the winter, which is great. You can hike in through the campground loop there, and you can still, the gate's usually closed up there where the park road is, which is just over there, but you can walk down the park road, snowshoe, that sort of thing. And as you can see, there are some changes coming to Charleston Lake Provincial Park. You can read about them online, but they're going to be adding some plots of land to the park, and I believe changing it to be an adventure class park, which will be the first of its kind. So that's some little info for you. The boardwalks here at Charleston Lake are a great place for bird watching. There's quite a lot of, oh, wrong direction. Can you tell I'm not a professional YouTuber? Behind me, there's quite a lot of marshy area, and I'm pretty sure I just saw some kinglets, which are the first I've seen this year. I just found some raccoon tracks, and check out these down here. So I'm pretty sure these belong to a porcupine. Porcupine feet, when they walk, they tend to be turned in a little bit. This one isn't showing that pattern quite so much, but one of the giveaways on the porcupine track, oh, here's a good one. So porcupines have like a really big uniform foot pad, which we can see here, and they also have really long claws to help them climb. And so often porcupine tracks, you'll see this this big ovalish foot pad, and then very distinct deep claw marks after each track. So I think that's what these are, and they go back into the woods here. And there are some white pine behind me, and there's some other, there's hemlock as well in this area, and I found porcupines here a lot in past years in this particular section of the park. The sun is still coming up here on Quiddity Trail. You can see the areas of the trail that are more exposed to the sun and have more of an open deciduous canopy further out that way. The trails are all nice and clear, but here where there's a lot of hemlock and canopy cover, it's a lot more shaded, and there's a little ice slip and slide here. I'm going to attempt to make my way down. So this is the start of a really nice wildlife sighting area. This is the little creek that connects Killenbeck Lake, which is there, with Charleston Lake, which is back there. Stop pointing with my floppy gloves. This is also the Portage Trail. So if you're paddling Killenbeck and you want to get to Charleston Lake, you can take the portage here, which again, it sometimes floods. You can see there's a little creek here, and the portage route is just over that way. It is an area that seems to be a deer path as well, and it's one place where I've consistently had ticks on me just after a short little stretch of hiking. So if you do come through here, always do a tick check after your visit to Charleston Lake, but especially if you take this little portage down the kind of low part of Quiddity Trail, make sure to check for ticks after. Okay. And as you will see from my footage, I don't work for National Geographic. I'm just a person with a camera almost as old as I am, and doing my best here to capture some cool spring things for you. But so far, though, it's been a really fantastic morning. I took a drive here through Bellamy Lake, Bellamy Pond area, and had some fantastic wildlife sightings there on my way. There were trumpeter swans, wood ducks. There were some mating ducks, which I think were mallards. And I even saw an otter out on the ice, out with all the waterfowl. So that was pretty cool. I saw some white-tailed deer on my drive, turkey vultures, and some really interesting little shorebirds, sort of like sandpipers. I'm not up on my shorebirds, so I couldn't say from a quick glance driving by what they were, and I wasn't able to pull over before they flew off. But sometimes just the drive getting to the hike is as exciting for wildlife viewing as the destination. But I've really lucked out here today. Awesome. And there have been some really wonderful songbirds singing and calling this morning. I keep hearing a brown creeper calling, but being the genius that I am, I forgot my binoculars today when I came to do spring birding, because that was smart. I have my telephoto lens, so even if my battery dies, I might try and use this to try and track down some of the birds I'm hearing. But anyway, that's the news. And look at what a stunning day it is. I mean, here, look at that. Just gorgeous out there. All right, we're into stage 2 of the day. And behind me, I hiked into the first campground loop here off of the Tallow Rockway parking lot. And there are some electric sites here. There's one right behind me. There's some electric sites in here that have water access. So if you have a canoe, you can canoe right out from your campsite into Charleston Lake. And behind me, I'll see if I can point right there. That's one of the herons that I was showing you from over there, which was the other side of the bay. Yeah, so I guess some of these campsites, you could be here in the spring watching the herons raise their babies. That'd be cool. And in other news, I switched backpacks before I left, and I didn't put my power bank in this backpack, so that's annoying. Another kind of idiot thing of the day, but anyway, I'll see how much more footage I can get before my phone dies. Now I'm out here on Fisherman's Point, which you can access from the first campground area if you follow the campground road along the shoreline. And this is a really beautiful point. It's a rock outcrop here that looks back over the little bay that you can see at Quiddity. So once again, those are that's the little peninsula where the herons are. And that, I can see where the kind of there is over where the Quiddity Trail is. But you can see on the other side of the point, I'm going to spin around here, we can see the main beach back that way. And this is a popular spot for fishing, hence the name. But it's also a little point that is covered in poison ivy. So if you come here in the summer to go fishing, especially if you're with little kids, just be aware that the poison ivy grows in almost kind of to shrub height on this point. And I've taken a couple pictures of the yellow poison ivy berries. Brought a special treat to have today on the trail in this fancy children's water bottle. This is special water, but this is non-alcoholic. This is maple sap from our maple trees that it hasn't been boiled at all yet, so the sugar is quite diluted, and I'm going to pour some and heat it up and have it as a maple tea a little bit, and then also use some to brew up some instant coffee. Here we go. My maple sap is steaming now, hot, and I'm going to use it to make some coffee. It takes 40 liters of sap to make 1 liter of syrup. So if you are using the straight sap, again, the sugar content is pretty low, but it does have a kind of mapley flavor to it. And if you let it boil for just a couple of minutes, I find it gets a tiny bit sweeter and it makes really nice maple tea. But today is maple coffee because I need some coffee. A rarity. It's an Easter bunny nest. Oh my gosh. So fragile. Wow. That was really fun. I highly recommend Charleston Lake Provincial Park as a place to hike in the spring to see lots of birds and wildlife and signs of wildlife. But, you know, remember your binoculars. Don't be like me. Bring binoculars. That's a helpful tool when you're birding. Thanks, and catch you out on the trail sometime. Here's our big sugar maple tree out front. Let's see what's in the bucket. Sap!